Hello everyone and very welcome to the YouTube channel Study Era. So friends, today we are going to deal with the very important topic of modern history, the revolt of 1857. So let's start. Actually, that the policies of Lord Dalhousie were very much responsible for the revolt of 1857, but as the Governor General changed, Lord Canning came. Okay, so when Lord Canning took over from Lord Dalhousie as the Governor General of India, he smelled chaos and confusion which prevailed in the country. But he failed to guess it completely. Why it is so? So let's begin with the different causes of the revolt. Political cause, the doctrine of lapse. Lord Dalhousie made every possible effort for the expansion of the British Empire in India. He implemented his doctrine of lapse very strictly. He didn't permit the native rulers to adopt a son or as their successor, even if they had no offspring to succeed them. On the basis of this principle, the kingdom of Satara, Jaunpur, Jhansi, Nagpur were annexed to the British Empire. Okay. So next point is annexation of Awadh to the British Empire. So as Lucknow was the capital of the province Awadh of the contemporary India, and Nawab Wajid Ali Shah was its ruler who had always been faithful to the English. Owing to his stern policy, Lord Dalhousie excused Awadh of maladministration and annexed it to the British Empire. The policy of annexation terrified the native rulers and they began to doubt the integrity of the English. Now, desire to get rid of the slavery of the English. Um, the English took over the Mysore, Maratha, and other native kingdoms for the satisfaction of the imperialist policy for their imperialist policy and forfeited the independence of the native rulers. Thus, he established the rule of company in the country. Although the English stepped into India as a representative of Mughal emperors, but later on they not only challenged the Mughal supremacy but also tried to sorry but also tried to establish their own rule. Okay, so as a result, if we take the in the view of justice, this step was this step of the English was revolt against the Mughal. Okay, attitude of the English towards native rulers. Beside all these, which we discussed earlier, beside this, the English adopted a policy of misbehavior towards native rulers and ignored them. Lord Dalhousie decided to abolish the title of Bahadur Shah Zafar. He also refused to accept Mirza Zaman Bhakt as successor of Bahadur Shah Zafar. The Governor General also ordered the Mughal Emperor to vacate his residence, the Red Fort, and reside him in Qutub region. In the same way, Dalhousie maltreated Peshwa Baji Rao's adopted son Nana Sahib and warned him that the state of Bithur could be taken away from him any time. Okay, so this was all about their imperialist policy. The imperialist policy of Lord Dalhousie was not relished by the native rulers. They took it to be an assault on their honor, and hence they decided to avenge themselves. Influence of Crimean and Afghanistan war. The English army had to face a great setback in Afghanistan in 1841 to 42, which affected the morale of the company's Indian army. Otherwise, and the people of India began to believe that the English army was not invulnerable. The English could also be defeated in case one was determined to crush them. Again, the Crimean War, which was fought in 1856 to 50, yes, 56 to 57, inspired the patriots of the India to raise the standard of revolt against the English in order to attain independence. The Crimean War also injected a new strength and vigor into the people who were involved in the war of independence in India. Hence, they reinforced their resolve to attain their goal. Now, if we come to administrative causes, what were the administrative causes behind the revolt? The people of India were dissatisfied with the administrative policy of the English. Actually, they could not understand it and begin to have the reservation about it. The English deliberately introduced some changes which annoyed the people. Distrust and disbelief prevailed everywhere. Moreover, the judicial system and the police administration of the English was also not satisfactory, and people were always worried for the safety of their life and property. The English tried to impose their superiority on the Indians, hence, they stopped mixing with Indians. The people of India also didn't like the switch in the language of courts. Introduction of English in place of Persian dissatisfied the masses. The English did not appoint any Indians to the administrative post in the empire. So this was all about administrative causes related to the revolt, which were the main actually causes for the revolt. Okay, social religious cause. The English, after gaining their foothold in India, began to interfere with the social religious cause. Okay, it irritated them no end. The English imposed restrictions on the system of sati and encouraged the widow remarriage. Okay, although this was good, but at that time, people were very much strict about the religious, है ना? So they never like anyone to interfere in the religious matters. So this step of English might be uh, praised by people of modern age, but and in the eyes of contemporary conservative people, it was not a reform but an uncalled for intervention by the English in the religious beliefs of India. Hence, the Indians rose against the English. The English amended the laws of succession of Hindus in order to encourage conversion to the Christianity. The English also destroyed the fabric of education. They wanted to keep most of the Indian people uneducated because they knew that educated person would become aware of their rights and duties. Hence, would always remain a possibility of their revolting. The English moved heaven and earth to spread Christianity. They made the study Bible compulsory in their educational institutions and tempted the prisoners to adopt Christianity. So all these actions of English created a notion to in the minds of Indians that by interfering with the social tradition and religious dogmas, they wanted to crush the Indian culture. They thought as thus, a flame of revenge flared in the hearts of Indian people, and it made the outbreak of revolt of 1857 inevitable. Now, economic causes. As the industrial revolution occurred in England in the 19th century, hence various big factories were established. For the smooth running of these factories, the English not only required raw materials but also they needed a new market for the sale of manufactured good. The English traders flourished by destroying the native trades in India. Not only the raw materials from India began to be exported to the English factories, but also their manufactured goods began to be imported to our country. They needed the new markets for the sale of their manufactured articles, and that way, India was the best market for them. The English forced the Indian weavers to work for the East India Company. They imposed meagre taxes on the raw material and also nominal taxes on the manufactured goods that came from England so that the English goods could be sold cheaper in the Indian market in comparison to the other native manufacturers. And as India was hit by severe famine in 1770 on account of the economic exploitation of English, this resulted in about one third population of Purnia district falling prey to it. However, the English enhanced the land revenue and forced the farmers to pay the same. In case some farmers failed to pay the revenue, his land was occasion means taken away from them. So this was all about the economic causes. So if the people who were subjected to the exploitation by the English revolted, it was no wonder, I think. Military reasons. The Indian soldiers in the army of the East India Company outnumbered the English soldiers, but they had some grievances against the British government. In comparison to the English soldiers, they were paid less. There were meager chances of promotion for them. Normally, they had to retire from the post on which they were recruited. Moreover, the behavior of English officers towards Indian soldiers was very crude, very ridiculous. In case any Indian began to earn name and fame by his devoted service and excellent conduct, he was removed from the service. Hence, it is quite evident that the cause of resentment already existed among the soldiers of East India Company. But when the English annexed Awadh, it offended the soldiers so much because three-fourths of them belonged to Awadh. Hence, dissatisfaction took a militant shape for their Nith and Nin. At the same time, the Lord Canning passed an act, and according to it, he asked the Indian soldiers to go to the distant countries without extra allowance. The Hindus did not want to travel beyond the seas due to their religious feelings. Hence, their discontentment increased all the more. Now let's put a view on outbreak and expansion of the revolt. 31st May 1857 was fixed as the date of revolution in entire country, but owing to the mistake of Mangal Pandey, a soldier in Barakpur, the secret could not be kept, which harmed the revolt tremendously. On 19th March, when the greased cartridges were issued to the 19th Battalion of Barakpur, Mangal Pandey couldn't tolerate it, and he began to instigate the soldiers against the British government. When some English officers tried to capture him, he assassinated them. Consequently, he was caught and hanged to death. On the death of Mangal Pandey, the soldiers of Meerut raised a standard to revolt against the English. Gradually, it spread through the whole northern India and among various battalions of the Indian Army. Nana Sahib Bahadur Shah Zafar, Tatya Tope, Maharani Lakshmibai, Kuvar Singh, or Maulvi Ahmad Shah, and others took active parts in the revolt on the basis of the sense of brotherhood. They started a fierce opposition to the government. They accepted that the revolt would certainly make the English tremble in their boots and force them to flee India. The rebels continued to hold their own for a pretty long time. Delhi, Meerut, Agra, Allahabad, Awadh, Rohilkhand, Patna, and many adjacent areas. At some places, the holds of the English were almost over, but there was no unity among the native rulers. So they remained divided. Some of the rulers supported the revolution while others isolated it in the suppression of revolt. Gorkha soldiers need special mention where because they supported the English in the suppression of the revolt. After the failure of revolt 1857, the English officers resorted to stern policy against the Indians who participated in the revolt. So now causes of revolt and causes of the failure of the revolt. Okay. So the revolt of 1857 was not a sudden outburst, but was the result of many accumulated causes which need only a spark to set off an explosion. Situation before the outbreak. The main reason of the failure of this revolt was that it could not take off on the date fixed for the purpose. We mentioned now Mangal Pandey. They took immediate action against the soldiers who were supposed to be taking active part in this revolt. They were forced to surrender their arms. This revolt could not spread out to be wider areas. Lack of resources. The military and economic resources of the English were far superior to those of Indian revolutionaries. Moreover, the English officers, just after sensing that the revolt was coming, had called for the great number of British soldiers in order to crush the revolt. They also recruited about 3 lakh Indian soldiers to increase their power. Thus, with their military power and the resources, the English successfully crushed the rebels. Lack of unity among the native rulers. The English could attain victory due to the support and cooperation they received from the native rulers. The rulers of Patiala, Jind, Gwalior, Hyderabad, Nabha, Jaipur helped the English through all possible means. It added to the power of English. Consequently, the rebel had to beat a retreat before the English powers. A lack of experienced general. So the command of English army was in the hands of experienced general. But excepting Tatya Tope and Maharani Lakshmi Bai, there was no other general to lead the Indian army. Lack of discipline, the modern weapons. The Indian army had no unity and discipline, whereas the English army as well trained and disciplined. Besides, the weapons of the rebels were not as modern as those of English army. Control over means of transportation. The English had established their control over all the means of transportation and communication. They had monopoly over post, telegraph, railway, and no attempts was ever made by the rebels to establish their control over them. Limited scope of the revolt. The scope of the revolt of 1857 was very limited. After establishing their control over Delhi, the rebels had no knowledge as to where to proceed from Delhi. Lack of public support. The personal character of the Bengali army was also responsible for the outbreak of this revolt to some extent. Their behavior towards the people was very bad and they were flushed with overconfidence about their own efficiency. So, their misbehavior compelled the people at several places to raise their head against them. Non cooperation of educated classes. The educated Indian didn't take active part in this revolt, rather, they went against it. Almost all the revolution which succeeded in the world had the support and cooperation of the educated class. They became the leader of the revolution, but unfortunately, it didn't happen so in the case of revolt of 1857. Now, nature of revolt. Although the Hindus and Muslims living together, they never had a faith in one another from the religious point of view. Both continued to remain rival of each other. Hence, the idea of first war of independence didn't seem to be logical in the absence of nationalistic feelings. But the declaration of Bahadur Shah highlighted its national character and proves that the chief aim of this revolt was to attainment of freedom from the yoke of English. Now, consequences of revolt of 1857. So, many were the consequences as transfer of power was the main. As the revolt of 1857 highlighted the demerits and shortcomings of the company, so as a result, the British Parliament passed the Act of 1858, which came to be known as Act of Transfer of Power. According to this, the administration of the Queen was established in India in place of administration of East India Company. Now the Queen will be the rule of Queen will be in India. No company rule. Corporation of Indians in administration. The Indians were kept aloof from administration service by the English. It offended them so much. So Act of 1861 was passed and the policy of seeking the cooperation of Indians was adopted. Change in title of Governor General. Now they are called to be as Viceroys. So after 1850, change in title of Governor General. Now after the revolt, due to the pass of Transfer Act, the Governor General came to be now known as Viceroy of India. Reorganization of Indian Army. The Indian Army was reorganized. The Army of the Crown was united with that of the Company, and it was named as the Army of Emperor. The number of English officers and soldiers were increased, and Indian army was organized on the basis of caste and provincialism, so that in case of any revolt in India, the newly organized army could be used against each other on the basis of caste and religion. So from here it is proved that they are going to be rule as divide and rule. They are going to start divide and rule. Distrust towards the Indians. After the revolt 1857, the trust of English in India was completely shattered and they began to doubt their integrity. Differences between Hindu Muslim. As a result of failure of revolt, differences and distrust cropped up between Hindus and Muslims, as both begin to look at one another as being responsible for the failure of revolt. Change of policy towards the Indian states as after revolt, Queen Victoria declared that now no native states would be incorporated into English Empire. Lord Dalhousie's policy of doctrine of lapse would no more be enforced now, and the native rulers would be permitted to adopt a child if they so desired. Expansion of Western education. The English, in order to establish their control over Indians, encouraged an expansion of English education, and the university was founded in India in 1858 so that the Indians might give up their old traditions and resort to the study of English administration and judicial system. Besides, the English also understood that they had committed a mistake by spoiling the relations with the native rulers, because it was very difficult for them to get the favor of people, but it was not very difficult to get the support and cooperation of one or the other native rulers. Now, feeling of nationalism. The British government, on the one hand, tried to win the confidence of people of India by providing them with services in their administration, while on the other, they tried their best to crush the feelings of nationalism. And for this they took up two schemes as expansion of Western education and spread of Christianity. So this was all about the revolt of 1857. If you like the video, then kindly like, subscribe and share the channel. Thank you very much.